I didn't even realize that was even... That was... Okay, that was an audio fault on my part. I didn't realize it was actually unmuted on YouTube, so it was actually playing like twice. I just now found the Facebook stream, guys. If you guys have been here before, you know I always say wait for the echo. Okay, that was an audio... I don't know why it does that. So just put up Facebook stream, just got the YouTube stream up, guys. What's up? Go ahead and start throwing them up in Discord. Keep coming. I'm gonna go to the very top. All right, how's it everybody doing? Let me get a what's up in the chat today. So this pack you guys are seeing on screen. Actually, let me go to the correct. This pack is the giveaway pack today. So you guys got to head over to Facebook. Anyone who's never been here before. Head over to Facebook, give the stream on Facebook a share. Your name will be on a list that I will find at the end of the stream, and we'll pick a random winner for this pack. It's a free giveaway. Roman usually sends them within a couple of hours after the stream. So, if you guys make some G House or Gangsta House, I don't know what the G stands for. I think it's Gangsta House. I could be completely wrong. Then it's not just for Gangsta House. It's not like hardcore gangsta rap house stuff. It's not like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to find links for this. Yeah, if you guys make any of this stuff and you guys want some what am I trying to think of? I can't think of anything right now. Why is it moving? Discord? Don't be doing this. All right, so let me get some general rules out of the way for today's stream, just so we can avoid any miscommunication. I think my YouTube stream is lagged. Nope, it hasn't. All right, cool. So, any links in the chat of the streams, Facebook and or YouTube, are going to be ignored. You have to follow us on Discord, which is in the description. I feel like, I don't know if my... Nope, it hasn't. Okay, any links in the chat are going to be ignored. If you're on Discord, anything that's not in the feedback channel is going to be ignored. Any private messages, because I just got one, are going to be ignored. So the feedback live stream channel, the only places we're accepting tracks today, and I usually go in order so there's no skipping. So I don't want to see any you skipped my track in the comments, because I probably didn't. If I did, though, It is because, and I was talking about this earlier, you send in another track. So if you send in one track today and it gets reviewed already and you've been on the stream already and you've been reviewed, if I see another track by you, I'm not going to click it. I'm not going to do two of your tracks in one stream. It's not fair for other people. It takes away time from them. So DJ Fiesta, welcome back to the stream. I feel like you get lucky every single stream and get your track reviewed. But here's yours. Okay, so I saw your little thing tell me you want some feedback on the trap part. The only issue I have with the trap part, actually, let me go back and just so I can clear my. Okay, so people have this theory in trap that I don't know if their theory is necessarily if there's vocals over it. Either way, I don't like it. There's this theory, not this, but this theory. People say if it's trap, the kick doesn't have to be that prominent, and the kick doesn't hardly have to exist because 9 times out of 10 people like to think that, oh, you have to have a good 808, you're good to go. Not the case, honestly. I feel like drums, percussion, anything like that, even if it's classical acoustic music or played by original instruments, or it's EDM music made by synthesizers and electronic instruments, it's still, all the rules still apply. I mean, there's still basic elements to songs. There's still ways that songs are supposed to be written, and I'm not saying you didn't abide by it, because I can still hear your kick. There's just no punch to it. My only factor was that it's a mid-ranged kick. You have clicky kicks, which is a high frequency of the kick. You have mid-range kicks, which just there's hardly no low end. The low end comes as an 808 at the very end. Then you have the whole spectrum of a kick, which is you have the sound effect, which every kick, believe it or not, has a slapping sound effect to make it get its effect. And then you have some sub basses and some other frequencies that make it sound as punchy as it is. So I would honestly add, if you have a trap kick at all. If you get I know a lot of our packs have trap kicks in them, and they're just slappy little short smack kicks, and those kicks are not meant to be basically the entire kick of the track. It's meant to just start your 808, because 808s have a lot of the time they have a heavy attack where they lead in. It's so you can put a trap kick in there and it'll hit, and then 808 will come out. So make sure you add. The only thing I really have for your trap part that needs to be changed is the kick. That's really it. Everything else is good, and the side chaining is there. With trap, there's not really heavy sidechaining anyway, so side chaining isn't necessarily as big as a factor. But it's just I just don't like the mid-ranged kick that I hear. I would rather you put, even a normal kick could just cut the tails off, and then 808, just something that makes a kick prominent, makes the punch prominent, because it's so much more easy to vibe to if you have that. I feel like I've heard this song before that you sent into me. I've not heard this part that I don't think so. So I feel like I have heard. You said you also heard my track till the first half and never beyond that. So maybe it was a demo. I'm assuming you made more. Any mix down things that I would have would be just general frequency, bumping. Make sure that, your frequencies are all there and that you have them as stereo wide as possible. Song sounds a little narrow. Sorry, tripped over my words. Other than that, everything else sounds great. I've heard this whole intro part before, so I was excited to see what you brought to it. I like the trap element to it. I would just, fix that kick, and then everything else should be, just fix your stereo imaging, fix your mastering overall, and everything else should be A-OK when the song actually does come release, man. So thank you for submitting the track. Head over to Facebook. We got to say this after every track, and I had to remember, because last time I was having major trouble saying last week's pack. Head over to Facebook and share the stream for a chance to win G-House today, at the end of the stream. G-House Samplepack. So, Blazikins, you're next. I see one of my mods going, hey, chill out with the whole links. Yeah, I mean, you can post it, guys. I was going to make a general rule that said, hey, only one track. It's going to play. I was going to make a general rule that said, hey, just one track per stream. You know what I'm saying? Just post one link and you're good. But I know for a fact, I know you guys, that's never going to be the case. You guys are always going to post. You guys are always going to spam your links. It doesn't matter what I say. But if I see like a track, all I'm saying is if Blazikins posts this track and then 2 tracks later I see Blazikins post either the same track or a track that's different, if I see his name twice, I'm going to ignore his second track because I want to get as much time in for people as possible. Okay, and a couple things in the chat. Irdum didn't skip you. You're actually next. This guy got there before you. Sometimes the feeds are a little bit different, so you also figure this out too. Sometimes feeds come in a little bit differently. So if you guys see, oh, my track was before this guy, why is this guy before me? Sometimes they flip, because if you guys send them at the exact same time, Discord has it flipped based on, I guess, location. So you're actually next. DJ Fiesta, yeah, I know I got your pack. I've actually started looking at it. We're honestly swamped with a bunch of stuff right now. We have a lot of content coming out, and we have a lot of new things that are in the works. So I'm gonna keep on the DL. So I've been doing a lot of writing and a lot of stuff like that. So I've been super busy as of late. So you should get it within the next couple of days, hopefully, if I can get to it. I am actually looking at it. It's being looked at. It's just hard to write down feedback for it right now because I've been doing a lot of writing and I'm really busy with that. So expect it within a couple of days. Blazikins. Let me just listen to some real quick. That lead is a little too loud. I feel like, and hope. No, I'm not lying to DJ Fiesta. I promised him that I would look at it. I like to help aspiring sound designers, so I can guarantee you for a fact I'm looking at it. That lead is a little too prominent. The sidechaining on it's not really. I feel like there is sidechaining on everything else in the background that I can hear, but I feel like I don't know if it's me. Hold on. No, I guess I do hear it, but I just feel like it's a little too loud. It's overpowering in the mix. So, what I would do is honestly, with your mastering, I would just crank your lead down a little bit. Whether it be the preset you use or the patch you use in the plugin, drop the volume down a little bit so it's not clipping because I hear that it's buzzing, which usually either means one of two things: that either the lead itself inside the plugin is actually clipping in the plugin, and then the mastering afterwards is actually bringing the volumes down, so it's not clipping outside of that, but it's still going to do some buzzing inside the actual plugin, or it's not clipping in the plugin, and then any post processing you did made it go red bar, and the in the actual plugin. So just make sure it's down a little bit. It'll fit a little bit better. It kind of over it like eats all the other elements, and it doesn't sound very wide either. It sounds like you have no detuning on it, which I would add some just because it helps with bringing stereo width to anything without having to actually put a stereo imager on it and make it louder. So I would just add some detuning to it, just a smidgen. And then that'll naturally widen it up. And then just drop down the effect of the detune. Your drums. Drums are good. Low ends are a little too low for me to hear. Again, like I've mentioned in previous streams, that my headphones mess up every time I turn on my audio for this stream. So I could be completely wrong, but low end sounds a little funky to me. Just make sure it's a little louder or a little more prominent. And mix it in a little better. Your fills, your effects, your transitions are really good. It's just that only thing I have a problem with is that lead. So I would try to just fix that a little bit. And you should be good, man. Honestly, everything else sounded okay. The melody sounds great. Drums are mixed in well. Sidechaining is there. Not too harsh, not too soft. But thank you for submitting the track, man. Head over to Facebook for a chance to win G-House Sample Pack today at the end of the stream. Thank you for dropping it for me. Eardom is next. I don't know how to say your name, buddy. If I'm butchering it, I apologize. I tend to do that. I don't know how to say names. A major laser track. It's a remix, good. Because if it's like a mix, then it's going to mess me up. Future reference. Sorry if you hear any like weird after noises in my microphone. My AC just kicked on, so. No problem, Blazikins. Thank you for coming.
It's looking like it been dipped. Dipping that. Script looking like it been flipped. Flipping that. Pull up in that for my car. Whole squad getting that. Please say it ain't true. I have to go and cop 2. Hell no, we can't fit in that. Fireworks, like we fresh out the cage. Showtime, baby, fresh off the stage. Bad little mama, fresh off the page. Front like you love, but you know that you hate it. And you know no better. And you know no better. And you know no better. Ooh.
Yeah, you know no better. Say you're different, who you kidding? Yeah, you know no better. Ooh, say that talk, but the ones who don't know no better. Say I know you better. I know no better. Know you better. Baby, I know you better.
Alright, there's some funkiness going on in that lead. One, like the other song, like from Blazikins, lead is a little too loud. I understand leads are leads and they're meant to be like the power driver of everything. But just make sure that volumes aren't too crazy over one other element, because if you have other elements back there that are awesome that we can't hear, it's because it's drowned out by your lead. So just turn it down just a smidgen and it'll be good. But there is some funky pitch bending in there that doesn't sound like it's catching up in time. So I feel like you have a pitch bend in there, and the notes playing, and there's one too many notes playing in the pitch bend that's supposed to be, so more than one note is pitch bend, so the one note is getting the tail end of the pitch bend, and it's out of key. It's really weird. So just try to fix that. If that's like something you did in Serum or any other preset you did with some sort of LFO automation when it comes to the octaves or any semitones at all, just try to make sure it's a little cleaner on the line. If you did it in FL and you use the glide tool, I'm not very familiar with that because I've stated many times I use Ableton. If you are using Ableton, however, in the actual MIDI pitch bending automation thing, I wouldn't even use that because it's harder to get those things to come back to 100% on the line. I would just use the plugin's pitch bending effect if it has one. It's a lot cleaner, a lot easier to moderate, and a lot easier to tell when it's supposed to be cut off. Other than that, I think you're sidechaining everything else was. The mix is a little too center. I would widen. One, I would widen your lead a little bit so it's not too dead center. Like I always say, again, if you're not usually familiar with streams, I haven't really seen your name before, so I'm not quite sure. But what I would do is try to just keep your basses center, keep your mids not all the way to the side of your ears. It's kind of like a half a circle type situation when it comes to this spectrum. So if you're looking at a half a circle, try to keep your basses in a center of that circle, your mids here, and your highs somewhere between the actual edge and in between where your mids are. You don't want the highs to be all the way wide because then it makes it kind of very difficult to distinguish exactly where you want them to be. So just try to make sure everything's stereo imaged as according. And if you need any help with that, you can always look up tutorials on how to master stereo image and everything like that. There's plenty of them out there. Other than that, everything else sounded great. I mean, I've never heard the actual track, so I can't distinguish exactly what's yours and what's Major Laser's. So just in the drop, from what I can tell, was actually yours. What I can assume was yours. Just turn that lead down a little bit and fix that pitch bending. And then you should be good, man. Thank you for submitting the track. Get over to Facebook share the stream for a chance to win G-House sample pack today from us. I'm trying to like do this thing, guys. My voice is like not having it today. I'm trying to do this thing where I kind of go like 2 tracks and then I kind of talk to you guys a little bit because I don't want to just be here to just give track feedback, which I understand. I know some of you guys are probably thinking, dude, shut up and just review the tracks, please. And I get that, but I want to try to be as personal as I can, and I'm going to go address some things in the chat. Anyone who's new, I want to like repeat rules as well, just because some people come in and come in too late. So I'm actually going to head over to Facebook stream because for some reason Facebook is actually working today. Facebook guys, how we doing today? It's not very lively over here, and if it is, I apologize. I never really mention this in streams a lot of the time, but Facebook's chat is really fuzzy to me sometimes. It does not like to load for me. Anybody who just got here, we have a Discord, which is actually down in the description. Any links coming in the chat, I am not going to be seeing. If you go to our Discord, any links that are not in the feedback live stream chat, I'm not going to be seeing. Someone said, is this going to be a video afterwards? Yes, it always is uploaded to YouTube afterwards, so if you want to go back and watch at the beginning, you can. We're going to move on to Vason, I believe is your name. Put you up in here. I'm trying to like also think of like questions. Which drop very early. Nice. I'm trying to think of like questions to ask you guys during the stream as well. Stop it, get some help. I do, dude. I do need help. All right, let's listen to Vason. Alright, Vason, if you're here, say you're Vason, because I don't know who you are in the chat. Title is Which Drop Very Early. I don't know if these are 2 different drops, and you just want me to pick between one. Gershon, you can go to the link in the description. Hey, Vason, what's up? You can go to the link in the descriptions to our Discord, posted in the Feedback Live Streams channel. If you had any questions, you can ask. Now, you're a mod here, so hopefully I say your name correctly. I'm going to call you either Lade or Lade or whatever your name is. Lade, I'm assuming. If there's another name you want me to call you, you can tell me in Discord. Please don't roast your cat's watching the stream. Okay, that's fine. My cat would be, but I have a screen. All right, Vason. So what is the gist with this? Are these two separate drops, and you want me to help you decide which one to actually use, or are you going to use both of them, or is it just all one drop? And you just want general feedback on how it's going so far. Call you lad. Nice. Okay, cool. So now I know what to call you. Great. All right. So I'm just gonna go over your general mix now while I wait for your answer. Now the first one was kind of happier. Are you wanting the happier vibe? I would honestly. The build up sounds like it'd be happier. I liked the way the melody worked in this one. The lead's melody, the way the MIDI was written in this one, I really enjoyed that. But I liked the octave on the lead in the first one. So if you could take the melody, there's no problem, lad. I want to call you late. If you could just take the melody, so the MIDI from the second drop, and just bump its octave up, transfer to the first drop, and just use that would be awesome. Because I like that. I like the melody in this one a lot, but I like the way this one sounds vibe-wise. General mix down. I'm not going to give you too much rash over this because it is a preview and it is an unpublished track. Things I would work on though before you publish are going to be your kick. Doesn't seem punchy enough. It doesn't seem like it has all of its frequencies. It sounds a little too slappy for me. So I would add a harsher kick and a heavier sidechain starting out, just so it's not too slappy. If it seems a little too not too muted, but just not there enough. And I'm assuming since you haven't done any mastering, post-mastering after the track, it's not going to be loud, so I'm not going to give you any judgment on that too. Why am I stopping does Nick have brain crashes or why is he stopping? I pause all the time just because I think of something to say, then I think of something better to say. I don't know. Anyway, so I won't harsh you over your drop as much. So, not your drop, but your mix down. But other than that, man, the track was good. Come back whenever it is finished and drop it in here, and we'll see what you did with it. Or you could just drop it in the share your music part of the Discord, and we can all listen to it. Because I usually listen to a lot of the tracks that come in there just when I'm working and whatever. But thank you for sending the track in, dude. Go over to Facebook and share the stream for a chance to win G-House Samplepack today at the end of the stream. Someone asked how long the stream lasts. It lasts until 2 o'clock my time. So we have about 34 minutes left. And my voice is, I can already, you ever talk so much? This may just be a problem with me because I talk a lot. But you ever talk so much that your voice starts to feel stingy in your throat? I have a stinging feeling in my throat. It's difficult to speak. I have to push. Alright. I don't know how to say your name, so let's go. I talk too much. Yes, I know I do. Before we continue, I'm assuming Techlix is your name. Perfect example. This guy on my screen was before you, and you're next. No, it didn't skip you. You guys must have posted your stuff at the same time, and it just put you after him. So you're actually next. Okay, so everything else sounds good. Your elements sound really great. Your sound design's really great. The vibe is awesome, but the only problem that I hear is your kick is basically non-existent. Um, your kick is like not even like I hear it over here, like any kind of ad-libbing you have of it in there. But in your drop, I can't hardly hear it at all. I just hear the low frequency pump through a little bit. So one, add sidechaining. See, Avil, thank you for joining today. One, add sidechaining in the drop, because it sounds like there really isn't any. And I'll show what I'm talking about here. And your chord progression could be a tad bit wider as well. Overall, though, you hear how there's not really a dip in the elements as your kick hits, and your kick's really muffled. Adding a sidechain is going to make your kick come through. So I'm not going to say to change your kick, because I feel like maybe the kick's maybe there's nothing wrong with the kick. Maybe there's nothing wrong with the mixing of the kick. Maybe it's just your sidechaining is not really there, so you can't really hear it. Now there's no clipping in it, and there's no buzzing for low end, so I'm assuming that you either have a sidechaining or you don't have any low end or any sub that comes through that messes with any frequency. So what I would do is just amp up your sidechaining tremendously, and make sure those elements actually dip in a way that kick is a little bit more of a melody or a rhythm driver, and it's actually prominent. Because as of now, in my headset at least, I can't hear it. I don't know about anybody else, but I can't hear it. Your lead is nice. Melody and the overall writing of the MIDI sounds really great. And it sounds a little too narrow, so I would just widen some elements, either with a stereo imager or some detuning. I hear some detuning, so maybe not adding more detune to it, just add a stereo imager, which if actually you even go get our plug-in pumper, it has a stereo imager on it, does a pretty good job. There are like free, because I have a free one, free stereo imagers but the only problem with stereo imagers that aren't like Isotope Ozone, that don't have the imager actually on it, it's difficult to see exactly where stuff's being located and how wide your track actually is. So just try to find some sort of imager, and make sure you bring this kick up and make it more prominent by adding a little bit more sidechaining. Other than that, man, the track was great. Thank you for submitting it. Head over to Facebook, share the stream for a chance to win G-House Samplepack at the end of the stream. We usually do that within 5 minutes left of the stream. Okay. Okay. Trying to find the last person I was on. Okay, cool. So, Techlix, which I'm assuming is your name. You are now... Alrighty, here we go. Oh, sorry, I was trying to find like different things all the time. Okay. Actually, I really enjoyed this. I like I kind of like that. Tropical House, I'm not really very familiar with the genre. I don't listen to a lot of it, so oops. Only thing that I would honestly do is this seems to be a little bit too quiet on these, and this is the same height as this over here, so I can only imagine that this is going to be almost as quiet. So I would just bring your mix up, like either volume wise or in the tracks individually. I would just bring them up just a little bit, just so they kind of counter this, because the volume change from this to this is pretty dramatic. Your build here was very good. Your transitions are really good. Drums are mixed great. I like the drums a lot. I like the sidechaining a lot. Your melody and your overall written MIDI was great. Let me actually check one thing. I don't know how I feel about the vocals trailing in the background. At least I'm not necessarily saying that they're bad. I'm just trying to think if they should be like either bumped up a semitone or a couple semitones, like 2 semitones, and added as like some sort of rhythm or some sort of transient in the background. But they don't seem like they're too much of a distraction, so I won't harsh you on them too much. The sidechaining actually matches very well, so your drums are very prominent. Overall mixdown just needs to be bumped up a little bit in volume-wise, and your low end sounds great and it's mixed in there very well. So, only thing I have really to say is to make sure the track is good with volume. Because I usually have this volume up set to where I don't have to adjust it, and if I have to adjust it, it usually means the tracks are a little too low. So I would just bump up your volume in your overall mix down, and other than that, I had it's awesome. All right, Techlix, thank you for sending it. I'm trying to like pay attention to the chat and like Discord at the same time. Thank you for sending that track in, man. Head over to Facebook for a chance to win G House today at the end of the stream. We usually do it within 5 minutes left of the stream, so we're moving on to Shut Start, which I believe you were here last time. I believe you sent me a Clip It last time as well. And Clip It's kind of make me frustrated because I can't find the volume knob for the frickin' track starts. So please don't play. Okay, here we go. I feel like for some reason in the back of my head, I keep thinking that you and Techlix are the same people. And you're using like 2 different windows to watch the stream. I don't know why. I don't know why that keeps popping in the back of my head. But yeah, it was great. Ignore him. Alright. Alright, only thing that was really weird to me was that your cymbals and your effects are extremely too loud and too prominent. So what I would do is just drop. See, I don't know if it was just this effect or if there's another one in here too. Let me just check it. Yeah, that's too loud. And that transition doesn't make any sense with that random effect in there. Yeah, those effects are a little bit too loud, especially when this one right here, when this one hit, it pops the spectrum right here really too loud. You don't want these to be, you don't want effects to hardly even be noticed. So, well, not necessarily hardly be even noticed, but they're going to be there, but you don't want them to be the most prominent thing. Because if it drowns out your main lead, it drowns out your basses and everything, then there may be either an issue with if you didn't change any volumes, or if you just didn't do any mix down to it, or if you overprocess whatever was on top of that, and that's the only thing not processed, it's gonna pop up. So your drums, I think I would cut the tail of that kick off a little bit more. It sounds to be a little bit too bassy towards the very end. I understand kick's supposed to have a little bit of bass towards the end, but I feel like it's a little too warpy towards the end of that. So just cut the tail off of that. Other than that, Since it's not done, I'm assuming I'm not going to roast you too much on it. So fix the effects in the kick. Some of the transitions are a little weird, and your cymbals are a little too loud. But other than that, man, thank you for submitting the track. Head over to Facebook, share the stream for a chance to win the free copy of G House Sample Pack at the end of the stream. Eater, welcome back. Saw you last stream as well. Here we go. I'm gonna try to start pumping through these as fast as possible now.
To be young and in love in New York City. To not know who I am, but still know that I'm good long as you're here with me. To be drunk and in love in New York City. Night into morning coffee, running through the hours talking. I like me better when I'm with you. I like me better when I'm with you. I knew from the first time, I stayed for a long time, 'cause I like me better when I'm with you. Better when I'm with you. From the first
I really don't have anything to say. I mean, the mix sound is great. The vocals mix very well. Your lows are prominent with that bass that pumps through here every now and then. The bass is mixed very well with that lead you have going over. I don't know if it's a vocal chop lead or if it's just a lead you made in the plug-in. But they mix very well. They don't overlap on it. Well, lead overlaps the bass, of course, but they don't collide as much. Drums are mixed extremely well. Love the kick a lot. Transitions and fills are good. Other than that, man, I don't have anything else to say, so head over to Facebook, share the stream for a chance to win G House in the stream. Thank you for submitting the track, Eater. Trying to go through these as quick as possible. As quick as possible. And you may say, hey, just say, hey, good job, and move on. I'm trying to help people. The stream is not meant to just pump through and play your track out for people to see and like free promo. That's not promo. It's not like that. It's just I want to try to help people who are beginning producers as much as possible. That's why it takes a long time. Arca, when's your turn? You are actually after this guy. So you're next. Yes, lad. All right, Red Nork. Only thing I had a problem with, that kick's not. I feel like that kick doesn't have enough low end on it. I don't know if it's necessarily, if you cut it out with some EQing, that's perfectly fine if you did, but just try to bring some of it back a little bit. Not that low. Like there's on usually an EQ measure, there's always like a low and there's low bass and there's bass. You can cut out some low basses, but don't cut out the bass entirely. Just make sure it has a little bit more low and it'll pump through it then. That lead's a little bit too prominent, so any element behind it's kind of getting drowned out by it. So I would just turn that down just a smidgen, just so the elements are a little bit more, collide. Like, I feel like the elements are having a little bit too much of a collision. So what I would try to do is honestly just, if it's either done in the mix down or any processing on it, if you have any effects on it, just turn them down a little bit, or if it's just overall loudness of it, just crank it down a little bit and just see how that works for you, because I feel like since this is private, you could probably go back and try doing that. I feel like it's a little too prominent of a lead. I would just crank it down a little bit. Sound design's nice though. And effects are pretty good, not too loud, not too soft, so you can actually hear them whenever they're trying to transition. And that transition at the very end is a little too long, so I would cut that probably in half. Probably towards it, start to hit the halfway mark, start transitioning it back in. You want to keep those as short as possible, because that is valuable time in a track that you could be doing something else with it. The transition here, when you had it, I don't know if it was either the hi-hats or the cymbals you put in here at the very second half of the drop, was a very nice touch. It actually filled out the drums a little bit better. Other than that kick and that transition and that lead turning down, that was a fantastic tracks, my friend. Thank you for sending it in. Head over to Facebook, share the stream for a chance to win the sample pack at the end of the stream. Lad, I saw your thingy-dingy, and unfortunately, he is actually 2 people away. So if I can get these 2 people, if you're talking about Futric, that is. If you're not, then if he's not in the list anytime soon, then probably not, because I don't want to skip over people who have been sitting here patiently waiting. What I could do is probably review his track outside of stream. Send me a direct message on Discord of who it is, and I'll check him out later on. I'm only skipping to get through as fast as possible. Honestly, Arca, I like it a lot. I just feel like your mix down and your mastering is a little too, when it comes to being quiet, I feel like it's a little too quiet. So if you could just, if you don't necessarily understand the fundamentals of mastering, it would take me way too freaking long to tell you exactly how they work. So just head over to YouTube and try to find some, if you use FL or Ableton, whatever you use, try to find some mastering tutorials and that a little bit, just to crank up your mix a little bit and separate the elements so they're not all clashing, because they all sound like they're all in one direction. Your drums are unique. I like your snare a lot, but the way that I can tell that the mastering is a little off is that the drums are a little bit too loud and that they kind of power over everything. I used to have that problem a lot whenever I was back when I first started producing. I don't know how long you've been doing it. If you're relatively recent at it, I would just try to look some tutorials up on how to bring your mix up without, clashing everything, because that tends to happen too. Overall, though, I liked it a lot. I didn't hear much low end on it, so I would try to make sure you have some sort of either sub bass that follows in like a chord progression type situation, or either there is low end in there and I just can't hear it, or it's not mixed up very well, or just try to bring some in like a chord progression or follow the lead type style. So other than that, man, it was a great track. Thank you for submitting it, and head over to Facebook, share the stream for a chance to win the pack at the end of the stream. We'll probably have a time for a couple of more. Someone just asked for my personal email. I'm not going to give it out via stream. We do have a feedback email, which I believe is feedback@waproduction-samples.com. I'm pretty sure. I could be. If you go to either Pump Your Sound or message us on Facebook, we can probably give you the information on there. Or message me on Discord. If you go to our Discord, well, I'll be able to give you that information. Right now, I can't remember off the top of my head. No, Ark, I don't mean gain necessarily. So say you're using FL Studio. I don't know which one you're using, but say you're using FL Studio, and you on your master track put like Maximus, for example. You can bump the low, mid, and high frequencies individually. So try to increase those gradually until it starts to get loud enough to the point where it's not clipping. If you just increase gain on master track, yeah, it's gonna start clipping. Then I would just honestly look up some sort of. I would like to I don't know, finding something on YouTube and try to help you with just bringing your track volume up a little bit is the only thing that I could think of. Just look up like general mastering tutorial on YouTube, and there's got to be several over the last couple of years. Try to find a more recent one too, not an older one from like 3 years ago. Yeah, Zenworld does have good videos on that topic too. Alright, so one thing I notice a lot, that your lead is insanely too loud. So I would just crank that down a smidgen, and then your kick is being drowned out. So I feel like whenever I hear the lead and your kick at the same time, I don't hear the lead dip out at all. So I would add some severe sidechaining just to give it some sort of a rhythm. Because believe it or not, a lot of the tracks you hear, you go, oh, that rhythm is nice, the vibe is great. A lot of the times, it's not even necessarily what is meant to happen. It's just the way the sidechain works. It adds a natural vibe to a track. So if you have a 4x4 kick that's going on like you do in this, if it cuts out rapidly and it's very quick, so a very rapid sidechain, a very deep sidechain, and a very quick release is really good way to drive the vibe and really good way for people to hear the drums. So make sure that you're doing that. Sidechain is one of the most important factors when it comes to making a track, because you want to make sure every element is heard. So make sure to do that. Lead is way too loud. And that bass is a little weird, and it sounds a little bit too distorted. So try to release some distortion if you have any on there at all. If it's either not distorted or too compressed, then either way, lower it down a little bit. and maybe make that bass not follow the lead. Maybe make it like a maybe make it kind of like an off pluck like you hear in some sort of house tracks. It would bring the vibe out a little bit more. Maybe add some chord progression in the background too to fill out the track a little bit more. It sounds a little bare bones whenever you don't have anything playing. So other than that, the track is private, so you can always go back and fix some stuff if you have to. Just fix the side chaining so it brings the drums out a little bit more. That lead needs to be turned down tremendously. That bass should be like more of an offbeat bass, plucky bass, so it sounds a little unique. Turn on some compression or distortion, whatever you have on it, that makes it sound a little bit ruggedy than it's supposed to be. It doesn't really fit. And then add some chord progressions or some sort of other elements like effects or hi-hats or something in the background that are more prominent, so it fills out the track a little bit more. Guys, I'm actually going to go for 5 more minutes. I usually do the giveaway thing at this time, but I want to try to get as many people in before the stream ends, just so we can be as fair. We'll go a little bit over. Someone said they're going to get their track reviewed. If you just put it in, probably not, because it's probably going to be my last track. ID. Alright, Futric. Alright, Futric, welcome back. We saw you last stream with your disturbing video and your unique song. Back again with a new unique song. So, only thing that I have in this region is that bass is clipping outrageously. So crank that down a little bit. Your snare and your kick are both clipping and or there's a thing called like a distortion or a frequency wobble, which is where the frequencies hit at the same time or they're in the same spectrum and one or another cancels out the other, so when they wobble or they sound distorted. So maybe fix some sidechaining on that so to prevent that from happening, because in this part here as well, I hear like 0 to no sidechaining, so make sure to add that in so it gives it a little bit more of a cool vibe. Honestly, this is too unique to the point where I really can't give you as much feedback because I feel like the uniqueness of it is all you. Just some general mixdown tips, just turn that bass down so it's not clipping. It sounds a little bit too fuzzy. And too rumbly in my ears. Like it's either too low on the speaker, which if it's too low and it's the way you intended it to sound, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure it's not too loud and make sure it's sidechained enough where the kick and the snare aren't being clipped with it. And this part right here has like no sidechaining, but it sounds really cool and I like it a lot. I would just add some sidechain and give it a little bit more of a vibe, and that would be awesome. Honestly, since it's private, I imagine you can go back and fix those things. So hopefully you can. If you can, post it in the Discord, and I'll go back and look at it as when it's revised. Other than that, dude, thank you for submitting the track. Yeah, mixing basses is never never easy. I mean, in any genre, everyone was like, "Oh, mixing basses in dubstep and brostep are difficult because it's one bass after another, and it's trying to get like everything to sound cohesive with one another." You know, and I explained this last stream, so I won't go over it again. But mixing basses is all about volume, distortion, compression. You don't want those to be too high because one always cancels out another. So adding too much compression increases your volume. Lowering the volume depletes your distortion. Adding too much distortion messes up your compression. It's a vicious like triangle cycle. So it's trying to find the perfect match. So just go back and mess with those a little bit, and then add some side chaining, and you should be Gucci with this track. It sounds really unique. It sounds really cool. Hello. All right. So now is the time. So first off, before we go and do this, anyone who's over on Facebook, it is very difficult for me to see this chat if you guys seem like you were neglected. It's probably because when I go back and look at the chat for the Facebook live stream, it never loads for me. So it's very, very difficult. And I need to drink some water while this thing does its little tingy. Because my voice is like, it's telling me to stop talking. I'm trying to work on not speaking as much. I'm very bad at explaining what I actually mean. And those of you who have ever sent in like a track for us to actually review on our Pump Your Sound website, which you guys should go do because they come right to me and I usually review all of them. So if you guys didn't get your track review today and you have a couple of dollars, you can send in your track for like $2 or $3 or something like that. And it'll come straight to me and it's usually returned back to you within 24 hours. So that's a good way to get your track guaranteed review. If you're coming here, and I want to stress this point, if you guys are coming here, which I understand the feel, it's doing its little thing right now. I understand hey, let's go, get this track. If it's on the stream, that's how many people are watching the stream get to see my name. And that's a good publicity way to do it. That's a good way to get your name out there as well. And if you're lucky one, these streams don't get they get a little bit over 120 some odd viewers, which isn't terrible, but like a Panda Eye stream gets like a couple thousand, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't come and bring your track here just so it's pushed out to people so they can see it. I would come to actually get it reviewed because I try to tell you guys as much as possible what's wrong and what to fix and how to fix it and, stuff like that. So I try to give as much. The reason why I talk so much is I try to get what I have to say out as fast as possible and help as much as I can. And outside of these streams, unless it's sent to me via email or Roman says, hey, these tracks need reviewed, I usually don't review tracks because I'm busy we're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes of packs coming out. Like day by day, there's a lot of hours going in on both my side and Roman's side, and all the team, everybody at WA. We're all doing a bunch of stuff for a lot of good things coming out that you guys are going to be so excited for, I hope, when they come out. So, come on, pick your person. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to... Will you please? Okay, I think I got it. Alright, so Nico Montilla. Or Nico Montilla. Or Nico Montilla. I don't know how to say your name. Nico. I know your name is Nico. Nico, if you were here, I'm going to go to the YouTube chat. Nico Montilla, I'm assuming your name is. I'm not going to put it... I'm not signed into my correct YouTube channel, so I'm not going to put it in the chat. Nico Montilla. If you're not here, then... Sorry. Then Roman will send you that pack, which is this pack right here, G-House sample pack, at the very end of the stream. Trying to think of what I want to say. Usually within a couple of hours after the stream, he sends it to you. I send him your credentials, like your link to Facebook. He sends you a Facebook message at the end of the stream with a download directly to the pack. You just click it, and it downloads it automatically for free. So enjoy that. Hopefully you guys can use it. Yeah, it's Niko, so Nico. but I now have your page copied and put into the chat for Roman to see, not the YouTube chat, but our business chat. Other than that, guys, that should be it for today. I will see you guys next Sunday, guys. If you didn't get track review, don't be too upset. You can always go to our Discord and throw it in our share your track stuff. People who are there are my mods. Usually like to go and DJ S is very active in that. Laz is very active in that. So and Futrix pretty active in the feedback stuff as well. So they usually, if it's not me, it's other people, and I would trust a lot of other people's opinions as well. When some people are better at wording things than me. So thank you guys for attending. Everyone who is new, welcome. If you do come back next week, make sure to go and try to be there as fast as possible. I usually post about, today I was really early because I was up extremely early this morning. And I post like, hey, in 6 hours the stream starts. And then I usually go, hey, 10 minutes, stream starts. Hey, 5 minutes. So if you're on Discord, look out for those, because I try to post like 30 to 10 to 5 minutes before the stream starts, so you guys know. But I will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for tuning in so much today. Thank you guys for submitting the track. I have a crap load of messages on Discord. Holy crap. But I will see you guys next week. Have a good day and enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you guys are doing, or good night, whoever's going to bed. But I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.